Go, go, Inspector Gadget. Yeah, go, go, Inspector Gadget. No, I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. It is, I don't know, Saturday, the 11th of the October. Is that right? It's October already? How is it October 11th? Anyway, we're doing it live. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means it's Saturday, and on Saturdays we try to do what I like to call, learning about the craft. We have a lot of fun stuff going on. As you can see, rewriting Stephen King. We're going to be doing It today. I don't know if you know this, but It is a book that he wrote many a moons ago. And we're going to try to rewrite the first page, basically. We're going to see what we can do and see if it's really worth it. Anyway, with that said, we got some stuff. What do we got? We got Emma. What's up, Emma? Tricky question today, Bellezza. Yes, she is talking about the poll in the comments section. What ruins a strong voice faster? We have a, by the way, voice as an author voice, which is what today's lesson will be about. We have over editing, copying trends, playing it safe, or fear of critique. Now, obviously, at the end of the hour, we will play with that poll and ask about it. Now, with that said, ciao bello, salve Emma. The beard also says hello, hello, hello. The beard and I would like some privacy at this time. Here you go. Please bring it back, and if you listen, you gotta ring it out before I can put it back on my face. What is up, Flowers? Welcome to the show. As we know, today is rewriting Stephen King, finding your author voice. Like I said, we will be doing It today. It. And if you don't know, I have some insight into It, so I'd like to read that to you today. If you didn't know, this is actually Stephen King's 17th novel that he wrote in 1986. However, he has written over 90 in total, 65 novels, some under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman. I don't know if you know that. Also, 12 collections of short stories and novellas, and of course, 5 nonfiction books. A couple of things that I didn't know while doing some research on this book is that the book was inspired by the Three Billy Goats Gruff, which is a Norwegian tale. And King wondered what it basically would be like if the troll under the bridge was the entire city sewer system, which made the city its own thing. So that's pretty sexy. Hey, happy October 11th, yo. What's up, Em? Welcome back. Glad to see you. Hope all is well. You know. Much love to you, and thank you because for giving me your time today. As you know, I know. So much love to that. And if I can entertain you a little bit, that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? If I could just, get you like, hey, let's make that happen. A couple other things that I would like to point out is number 27 in the novel, the evil entity known as It resurfaces to terrorize the town every 27 years. But did you know that it has been 27 years since the miniseries came out in 1990, and then the new movie was released in 2017. So that's very, very interesting. Hi, Flowers. Hi, Em. Hello. Good to be back. I'm glad you're here too, man. All right. I'm very glad that you're here, actually. Sit back, relax, maybe get a little sippity sip susa. I would also say that some people speculated that the clown disguise was based on John Wayne Gacy, but this is not true. King has stated openly that it was actually more about creating a character that children naturally were afraid of, which would be clowns, specifically figures like Bozo the Clown and, believe it or not, Ronald McDonald. Other than that, this is one of King's longest works. And I also want to tell you this next stat, by the way, and then we're going to get into it. We're going to go into writing the book. But I want to say this stat actually got me excited because it's a learning experience for you, the author out there. You may not know this, but it took King 5 years to write this book. Okay, he began in 1980 and finished it 5 years later in 1985, and then it was published September 15th, 1986. This was actually one of the longest projects in terms of writing duration that King had to put some time and effort into. I don't know if you knew that. If you knew that, let me know in the comments below. If you didn't know that and these facts made you go, woo, maybe I'll do this for all the other books that I do that write with me. It's good to be back. Hi, Emma. I've binged the Ed Gein Netflix this week. You know, there's been some controversy about that show. And not because the guy playing Ed Gein, who we know as Jax from Sons of Anarchy, I believe. I believe that's who's playing Ed Gein. Yo! I see what you did there. All right. Other than that, that's the information I have. Other than this book, they printed 800,000 copies of the book when it was first released, which was a big deal back then in the 80s. That was not normal. But there was such a high demand for Stephen King's work that they did that, and to this day, it continues to sell. But anyway, the 5 years thing, I just want to say, it took Stephen King 5 years to write this book. That doesn't mean he wasn't working on other books. But more importantly, if it takes you more than a year, more than 3 months, more than 5 years to write a book, it's going to take what it's going to take to write that book. Do not allow that to suffocate your passion and motivation. All right, with that, let's get into it. Let's share the screen. All right, first and foremost, there's a couple things I definitely want to say before we get into this. Yes, I didn't know Charlie Hunnam was a but yes, controversy. All right, yeah, there's a crazy controversy with that. Charlie Hunnam. By the way, Charlie was born. I don't know if you know this. Charlie was born with a shorter leg, so that's why he did the stupid limp, kind of like. And sometimes he does like a weird like walk in his when he acts, is because his legs are, he actually has to have a lift in his shoes. Very fun fact about him. All right, so this is going to be chapter 1 after the flood, 1957. The reason they do that, if you don't know it, is because there's a when they were kids and then there is when they are adults. So that's important. Today we're going to be talking about author voice. And as always, Rewrite the Great series is not about me saying, look at me, I can write. It's more about me showing you how I take the plot, themes, tone, ideas of an already written piece, specifically from one of the greats, and then I rewrite it in my author's voice to show you that it doesn't matter about what plot and all that other stuff is, because at the end of the day, there's really only 7 stories you could tell, and how you tell it as an author is what makes it uniquely yours. When I was in, real quick, when I was in the screenwriting industry, the film and television, there were 2 signs of basically a novice writer. The first one was, will you sign an NDA? No, I will not sign an NDA. In fact, if you need me to sign an NDA, why don't you have your agent or lawyer or representative reach out to me, and we'll do it through the natural things. But if you don't want me to look at your stuff because you're afraid I'm going to steal your stuff and then put time, energy, and money into developing it when I have other projects, right? You see, I ain't novice. And that's my point. That comes to the second thing, is the fear of theft. It's not really about the fear of theft if you're approaching it in the same way. And the reason comes down to, and this is something we would talk about often in writing groups and stuff like this on a higher level, is that it's how we tell our stories. That's what makes a Finch movie. Do you understand? That's what makes a Stephen King book. That's what makes a Nora Roberts book. You know, like or J.R. Robb. Like, we may have similar ideas. Like, for example, vampires. Okay, vampires, they need blood to survive. They're sexy. They go out in the dark. Sun kills them. Some of them can't be seen in the mirror. Some of them can, right? All that is vampires. But how you write that changes it from a story about vampires who are dangerous and evil or scary or manipulative or they're trying to kill people or they're trying to survive. It's taking that idea, which is millions of versions of that, and then putting it through your lens. And it's that which cannot be stolen. You cannot steal that idea. It is almost impossible. What we got here? Has anyone booped the like button? It's if you haven't booped, you gotta bloop the beard to bloop that like button. And if you don't, I will go and get the sword of bloop bloop. Oh, Richard. Oh, Emma. Richard. Do not start. All right, so let's do this. Let's get into it. By the way, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel before we get into it. And I don't know, hit that share button. Maybe we could pop it on your YouTube channel wall, your community wall, and really do something nice. Right, Richard? You know, Richard knows. Richard knows how to support and elevate others. I've seen it done. I always bloop and that's because Flowers, let's be honest. You're a team player. And I love it. It's not the done thing for the man to bloop too early. Well, sometimes you gotta bloop. It's gentlemanly if you know what you're doing. Because let's be honest, you don't always. We're not designed to only be one thing. We have more than one move in the game. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know that, I just want to say that fluttery fingers is not part of your life. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. But I also talk a lot, which means I have a strong... Okay, so let's get into this. The Terra. It's not considered particularly... I see what you did there. All right, so we're going to read this, and then I'm going to analyze it a little bit, and then we're going to try to write, okay? Sometimes you just need a quick bloop. Sometimes you do need a quick bloop, let's be honest. Sometimes it's not about, like, let's get the candles, you know? I can see where we can see. I will feel around to figure out where we are in the hallway, you know? A one-night bloop. All right. I don't usually bow to peer pressure, but it seems a bloop is in order, so... Just please wear protection when blooping. You never know who's touched the screen. All right. So a couple things. If you're new here and haven't seen the Rewrite the Great series, this is how I do it. I'm going to read through it. I'm going to try to decide what the theme and the plot and all these other things are. And then I'm going to try to rewrite it in my voice, which is more cinematic. I use what's known as third person limited rotating, which is basically I like to frame things into a camera. I like my camera moving around. All right, and the reason it's more cinematic is because I like to write through physical behavior, which predominantly is showing. I do write telling, and telling is fine, you know. But a lot of times, especially for these older books, they are exposition heavy and or, you know, written differently, and that's the thing. Like the times have changed. All right, the other thing I'm going to try to do is analyze what we're reading just so we can get a better sense of what's going on. So let's do this. And bear with me. I am having a long day. Well, a couple of days. So if I have to slow it down or maybe cut out early, just understand it is not you. It is me. All right, so let's do it. I can't believe this book was written in 1957. No, the book was written in 19... What? Oh, I see what you did there. No. That's the year that the book takes place, buddy. Come on. Get with it. All right, here goes. The Terror, which would not end for another 28 years, if it ever did end, began, so far as I know or can tell, with a boat made from a sheet of newspaper floating down a gutter, swollen with rain. The boat bobbed, listed. I guess that's what. The boat bobbed, listed, righted itself again. Dived bravely through treacherous whirlpools and continued on its way down Witcham Street toward the traffic light, which marked the intersection of Witcham and Jackson. The three vertical lenses on all sides of the traffic light were dark this afternoon in the fall of 1957, and the houses were all dark too. There had been steady rain for a week now, and 2 days ago the winds had come as well. Most sections of Darrell had lost their power then, and it was not back on yet. Well, I'm glad we're getting this out of the way. A small boy in a yellow, slick and red goulash. Am I saying that right? Galoshi? Goloshi? All right, 1 second. Don't you?
Galoshes.
Galash. Yeah, I was right. Okay. Galash ran cheerfully. Why? What's going on? Ran cheerfully along beside the newspaper boat. The rain had not stopped, but it was finally slacking. It tapped on the yellow hood of the boy's slicker, sounding to his ears like rain on a shed roof. A comfortable, almost cozy sound. The boy in yellow slicker. Okay, I'm having trouble reading this because I do not like this style of writing. I don't know if anyone enjoys the story of it, but this is we're going to go into the breakdown because I got a lot to say about this. Let's be honest. I think you do too. My point about Emma's age still stands. That's right. The M dashes are. This was written by AI. All right, let's get into it. All right, so right off the bat, this is by far telling. This is just giving us a dump of exposition. That's what she said. All right, so the terror, which would not end for another 28 years, if it ever did end, began, so far as I know or can tell, with a boat made from... All right, so this is omniscient, right? We are already outside the character in general. Personally, we know that when I do my version of the writing, it'll be more centered on a limited. I do like third-person limited. But give or take, this right here... Again, remember, writing, it changes and evolves over time. So, you know, what it was back in the 80s versus what it is today is going to change. So, if you're a writer, which I'm assuming you are, when you write other people's stuff, when you read other people's stuff and you look at the years and stuff like that, I wouldn't really compare your writing to what was because it has changed. We've talked about this in great detail during Lord of the Rings, when we did Lord of the Rings. All right. Where's the part about the sister? That's where I got the boy in yellow, known for his most in school, and even to the teachers who would never have used the nickname to his face as Stuttering Bill. Okay, was at home hacking hat. This is okay. This is the thing about when it comes to my voice. A lot of this information, I like to sort of, why don't we let the narrative get to it? And not necessarily, this is what front loading looks like. But again, back then, this isn't something we paid attention to. This wasn't something, it's like Lord of the Rings that is a front loaded exposition dump, right? It's when we try to get as much information into the first couple of chapters as we can, just so you, the reader, knows all this stuff. But for me, when I rewrite this, like stuff like this is just, there's no need for this, in my opinion, now. Because it's an aside. It feels like it slows down the pace of the narrative and doesn't necessarily add to it in the sense of emotional movement or truth. That doesn't mean it's bad, obviously. It's number one, it's a hit book. I'm just saying, for me, I'm trying to explain author voice. My choices when I write, and this is things you should be thinking about. You know, when you're writing, what is important to you? What is it you like to see? What is it you don't like to see? Well, some things I don't like to see is heavy exposition or front loading. But all this information is interesting. He was 6. His brother William, known for the Stuttering Bill, who comes up later, right? All that is interesting to me. But I would rather see it unfold through the narrative's movement and what I call character exposition. So the difference is this is narrative exposition because it is just an aside. It is like, hey, you should know this. Whereas character exposition, I would probably just have Bill stutter, right? And then would have been known using his nickname to his face, right? However, when people weren't around Bill, I would have the nickname used and then make people uncomfortable to use the nickname in front of him. You see what I'm saying? Like, for me, my brain, that's how my brain would look at it and try to write it in my author's voice. I would try my hardest to ultimately be like, how do I show this existence? How do I show this movement? In the autumn, and then 8 months before the real horror began. See, this is all right. Well, we know this is omniscient. I'm not gonna write it in omniscient, but this is information characters couldn't know. If anyone doesn't know what omniscient is, that's it right there. It's third person omniscient. It means that we are slightly outside of whatever's happening, but because it's omniscient, we can the narrative, who is a character, which by the way explains this dialogue right here. So far as I know or can tell, because it's omniscient. All right. Is informing you, the reader, of this information, okay? Now, this is also on. Bill had made the boat beside which George now ran, okay? Bill is not in the scene. if you don't know, it's Georgie. Hello, Georgie. All right? But he had made it sitting up in bed, his back propped against the pillow, a pile of pillows, while their mother played Fair Elise on the piano. Well, their mother played Fair Elise on the piano in the parlor and ran. Okay, so what just happened here is we started with the small boy running. Okay, and then there's some exposition dumping here. Okay. And then we talk about Stuttering Bill, but more in third person. And then we get to, by the way, it's months before the big craziness happens. And then it jumps. It literally jumps back in time. All right? Not with a soft chapter break, not with a hard chapter break. See, the way writing works, it changes. This is an example of evolution. All right? This is what it was, and now it is different. Anyway, so we're now with Bill, okay? And that's what happens. All right. And then above 3/4 of the way down the block as one headed toward the intersection. Now we're back to Georgie. Hello, Georgie. Wickham Street was blocked to motor traffic by smudge pots and 4 orange horses. Okay. I don't understand the question. Oh, all right. So, what? Oh, he said he's asking about the poll, everybody, because we always do a poll. What ruins a strong author's voice fastest? Okay, so if you have an author's voice and it is strong, meaning you know your author voice, what would ruin it faster? Over editing, because you could edit out basically your style and structure and just make it more mechanical. Copying trends, meaning that you're not really writing through your own voice, you're writing through other, like you're saying, oh, Brandon Sanderson writes like this, so let me try, or whatever the kid, Jordan Roberts. Playing it safe, meaning you're not trying things. You're not trying to break the rules. You're not trying to go above and beyond. You're playing it within, okay, I'm going to describe it as it needs to be, and I'm not going to be playful with it. I'm not going to be lyrical. I'm not going to be experimental. I'm not going to use metaphors, right? And then fear of critique, meaning that you're basically writing to appease all readers and not necessarily your audience. And that's what that means. All right, let's get back to it. I hope that answered your question, Afghani. And by the way, buddy, you have a pretty sexy author voice. I just want to say I was doing a little bit more reading on that chapter, and I think I will try to do what you asked me to do on a live. But I just want you to know, it's very good stuff, though. It's very good stuff. All right. If you don't know, if you're joining us, we are going to now rewrite this in my author's voice. We just read through it. We did some analyzation. Excellent, smart. But more importantly, back in 1980 to 85, Stephen King wrote this. And as you can see, he used AI. Clearly he used AI because there are M dashes. And as we know, that means he didn't write this. He stole this from somebody. The terror which would not end for another 18. All right, I already know I'm going to start with Georgie. Georgie. But I'm going to spell it George. All right. Running. I'm not writing prose yet. Running down the street. Give here to the city. traffic jam. Okay. Describe the running boat and water. Build on the rain. All right. Now, obviously, we're not going to get to Pennywise because that's not on this page, but okay. All right. Bob listed. What does that even mean? Am I reading that right? That's weird there. Maybe it's just the wrong word. It doesn't matter. Treacherous whirlpools. I need this down the street. I need to know the name of the street. Owen Jackson. The Wickham. I need to know this. Okay. What am I doing? I'm doing it a little different this time. I'm kind of showing you like how I'm basically building the scene in my head with some pre-outlining, and then I'm going to kind of write it. Normally I do this in my head when I do this, but I want to show process a little bit, so we're going to do that today. The 3 vertical lanes, all the traffic. I like that little moment. What book is this? This is the book It by Stephen King, written in 1980 to 85. Took him 5 years, and it was published in 1986. It. This is the book that has a weird child orgy in it. I probably would have went a different way. You know, Stephen King. I could only imagine what the editor. Hey, Steven. What's with this scene right here with the kids? Oh, it's a loss of innocence. No, 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 I get that. I get that. No, you don't understand. It needs to stay there. It's the loss of innocence. Well, you know, it's funny. Yes. Yes, the movie is based off this book. However, they did change a few elements to the movie for a few reasons. You know. Yeah, listed. I don't understand what he said. The boat bombed, listed, righted itself again. I think that has to do with sailing. Listed with sailing. Oh, it's leaning. Oh, listed with sailing means the boat is leaning or tilting to one. That's what I assumed it was. But it's just a weird. I got a couple thoughts on that one. Leant. Jesus, my brain. Greetings, Thomas and Room. I missed some of the Stephen King example. You didn't miss much, I assure you. Means the boat is leaning to me. Yeah. Like we are listed starboard. I will say this. This is an advanced word for a child who's not old enough. You know what I'm saying? He's not that old. How old is he? 6. But this is an example of why omniscient allows for this, because this is like a divine being is watching the scene unfold and then telling us about it. But if this was through Georgie's brain, which I'm actually going to write it through Georgie's POV as best I can. You know, why would he, you know, treacherous whirlpools? He might know whirlpools, but the way he describes it, the way he's visualizing it, would have to kind of be filtered through the mind of a 6-year-old. You know, you can't just be like, well, you know, to be a cool visual. You know. All right, a couple other things. Yellow, slicker, red. We need that. Again, I'm just trying to put together the scene. All right. Water boots. All right. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this. I'm so stupid. I'm like, the screen's not up there. All right, let's see. There had been steady rain. Oh, they're in Derry. I need to know that it's Derry. Of course it's Derry, but you know. Derry. Hello, Georgie. My mom told me not to talk to strangers. Oh, well, my name is Pennywise. And you are? I'm Georgie. Well, there we go. Now we are friends. What a balloon, Georgie. Bill had made the boat beside, which this I probably would not have. Oh, I wrote Rainy Summer Days a few years ago about 2 6-year-olds' summer holidays. It may come out under a different pen name. It was hard to rein in the words. It was hard to rein in the words. Yeah, but still publish it. You know, just get it out there. Sometimes what we believe, our own insecurities, may just be that. And other people might read it, and you have no idea. It might inspire someone not only to be a writer, or maybe even make a choice in life, or remember something important from their youth and connect them to an emotion or a memory that they thought was lost. But you gave it back to them. So, writing is a magical thing. As one. This should be Georgie. Probably wouldn't have chosen this story myself. Well, you know, I'm trying to make it a little, you know, switch things up. Yeah. All right, let's go over here. Boop. I'm thinking. Eyes and face. Oh, yeah! This paper boat. This paper boat. It bobbed and listed. Okay. It bobbed. Oh, we got a new person here. Hey, success is mine. I was just looking out my window and trying to describe a tree like Stephen King. You know, that's a really great exercise. It might sound like I'm making a joke, but I assure you, I love stuff like that. And that's something that we should try to do. You know, not. But I will say this: this exercise right now, what I'm doing currently, is not about me emulating somebody's style. It's specifically about how to hone your own author voice and take what is written and then sort of put it in your own words. Patrick Rupp, yes, 100%. Excellent author. Excellent author. I started reading a book by Patrick called The Name of the Wind. Oh, yes! Maybe you should add him to your list. I think he's not. I think he's fantastic. By the way, Name of the Wind. That should be a book you read. Even if you end up hating that book for some reason, for whatever reason, it's a book that you should read just to experience it. All right. By the way, we're also doing a zero draft here. We're just running. All right, the rain. leaned his head forward. George. All right, 1 second. I'm doing something I haven't done in a long time. Read a physical book. sometimes you just gotta crack down and do it. The authors I am most inspired by when it comes to prose is Joe Abercrombie and Jim Butcher. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I've been reading this book, The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie, and the reason, I'll get to it, Emma. I've been reading it because I want to do an analysis on the chapter of casualties, which is supposed to be like an amazing chapter. So I've been reading that to show about multiple stuff. So his 6-year-old legs kept up with the paper boat. What do you mean? What's wrong with that line? It's a zero draft. We can't be perfect, Emma. I can't be perfect with every line. I got to work to it. I got to get to it. I don't know Jim Butcher. Not personally. He's a lovely guy. The Heroes is my favorite. It's an interesting book, but I like to do analysis, so I'm going to be doing one at some point or another on that book. He sure is. That's... I know, Emma. I'm working on it. We watch and we don't judge. Sounds familiar. Yes. All right. Okay. You ready? Okay. No matter how far he leaned his head forward, George kept his eye on the paper boat. Okay. How about we do this? We build on it, on the boat. It soared down the river. Actually, it soared down. Let's do this. Witcham Street. Flowing. I'll use bobbing. What's the name for that? 1 second. What is the water running down the side of a street called? Why can't my brain think of that? Oh, the gutter. Okay. All right. Okay. Kept his eye on the boat. It soared down the gutter. The gutter on Witcham Street. Okay. It soared. Soared. There we go. It soared. Now I'm trying to make every sentence perfect. Don't do that. Don't try to make a sentence perfect. We have to get the casualties chapter is the perfect thematic chapter, and it has a point of view shifting from the main perspective to the person who killed him. Yeah. I'm enjoying the casualty chapter. It's I love that kind of stuff. You judger. Lines on a 6-year-old are cute. That's right. All right. Remember, when you're writing, everybody, as a lesson to you, just the general, you're not supposed to write perfect lines in your first. This is literally the first go-to. It's a zero draft mentality. If you try to write perfectly every time, you will never get to the words that you need to. You got to start small and grow big. So, clunky or not, chunky or not, terrible lines are the path to greatness. Because what do we always say on this channel? Great writing, terrible lines, is rewriting. Can I get an applause for that? Great writing is rewriting. Everybody. Woo! All right. The words can always be 100%. All right. A chunky was the book. Oh, not the sentence. Oh, I see what you're saying. Not the sentence. All right, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Now I'm not getting so self-conscious. Oh yeah, I don't read a lot of Stephen King if he doesn't write it as Stephen King. Bravo. Hi-ro. Clap, clap, clap. That's right. That's right. We can never forget the golden rule of writing. Great writing is rewriting. So, okay. Bob and leave. All right, down the gutter. Okay, okay. All right, now I gotta read it again because I'm all like, okay. Rain flicked hard at his eyes. Actually, you know what we can do? Let's get Georgie right into it. George's eyes. All right, stinging his young face. No matter how far he leaned his head forward. Reach down. His boot. His young leg. His small legs. Could not. Keep up with his bow. Alright. What's going on? Oh, we got a lot of stuff here. Alright. Hi, success is mine. My first draft of my first book is painful to read. About 6 drafts later is less flammable. Hello, Emma. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's such a cool concept. I'm Little Miss must be perfect on the first draft. In my defense, my editor loves me. But Emma, everybody loves you. You're adorable. Like, no one can not love you. Like, I don't understand. What kind of argument is that? That's just, of course they're going to love you. But to be fair, Emma, you know that I sent you 0 draft of my stuff and then a first draft of my stuff. And you were like, oh, I get this. This is nice. So my stuff, I'm writing through. I already know my characters. This, I'm trying to make sense of Georgie running around with his all wet and everything. You know? All right. Explains why it has been sat unread on my bookshelf for 25 years. That's funny. My favorite King book is Needful Things. Oh, Needful Things. That is a really fun book. That's a fun book. Yeah. That's definitely a fun book. Some of the books I read or read on Book Bounty feel like first drafts. Let's be honest. They are. Wait, no, I wrote his little legs. All right. Almost like something out of the Twilight Zone episode, right? I am a delayed reply. Usually what I write on a first draft doesn't change much, but the diction and the flow might change. Maybe the dialogue tags do. Yeah, one of the things that I've definitely noticed in my writing is for a 0 draft, everybody has dialogue tags. By like the 3rd or 4th draft, if there's a dialogue tag, it's for pace. You know, like the clarity is usually through the way I write and how I create like a rhythm of dialogue. But that's the thing. Like a 0 draft should be filthy, like really filthy. Needful Things is such a page turner with dark humor. It really is. I think they did an okay job with the movie too. would sell me a broken piano, and I would. Thank you for the broken piano. Of course, of course. Now I'm going to need you to do me a favor. All right. Rain flicked hot. What time is it? I'm trying to get something out before the hour. Rain flicked hard at his Georgie's eyes. Oh, there we go. Boop, Georgie's eyes. Stinging. How about? Let's do this for his boat. All right, the sting. All right, the sting ignored. It's a little too much. Sting. Sorry. I was trying something. I didn't want to do it. Mine was not even formatted. Well, that's fair. That's it. Well, I've got to go, but I subscribed and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. Have a good day, and I look forward to seeing more videos. Thanks. Success is mine. I really appreciate it. So much love to you, and have a wonderful day. Really, truly. Thanks for the stop by and the conversation. My first draft and second draft are very different. I tend to add a lot in second draft. I mean, that's the thing, you know? Like your second draft is where you're starting to add immersion or clean things up, play with dialogue. You know, my first draft was like 30K words. My second was fit. Yeah, because your first draft or a zero draft is just sort of laying the foundation. It's the puke draft. It's just getting it out. But by the time, success is mine. But by the time you get to where it matters, you know, like for example, this book right here. I'll tell you right now, just as somebody who's been in the industry long enough, there's no way the first draft of this book was good. You know what I'm saying? Because of he was experimental in this. Like the way he wrote this book and the way he used camera lenses and soft chapter breaks and hard chapter breaks. Like the amount of time he had to put into this book between easily 5 drafts and editors to get to where it became what it became, right? Like writing, no author in the history of existence wrote a sentence and then wrote the book and then handed it in and they published as is, unless they didn't understand what was going on or they self-published. Like there is so much work involved in making something great, let alone good. So, you know, do not fear the drafts. The Regulators being like something out of a Twilight Zone episode. Basically, a demonized child runs rampant on those bastards. I've been watching the Twilight Zone. I'll tell you right now. I have better things to do now. I used to love the Twilight Zone. Now it's just, you know, it is what it is. I enjoy it, but you know. All right. No matter how far he leaned his head forward, his arms stayed. Trying to snatch. Snatch his boat up. Snatch his boat up. Snatch your bitch up. A random question: do you open a new file for each chapter, or do you write everything in one time? I do a new file for each chapter because I use Google Docs, and also what I do is I have zero draft folder, all the chapters, and then I'll copy and paste that file into first draft, and then I'll just start writing the first draft, and I'll do that for each draft. And that's a great random question. All right, his little legs could not keep up with the paper ship. Snatch his boat up. His little legs. Uh-oh, AI. Okay, it bobbed and weaved down the gutter, raging over the storm's river. Down. Okay. It's newspaper. Nah. All right. Now Emma has me questioning every damn line. All right. Okay. I got this. All right. It bombed. Let's do it. Let's use listed. Listed. I don't like that word. All right. Let's get into this. Okay. It bobbed. Listed. Right. All right. Let's do Schmorl boat bobbed listed. Righted itself again. Speeding up the rage. Of the storm. Rusted. The river down. We could get rid of this. Boop. All right. Okay. Right itself again. The storm drain. Is that what it is? Like a storm drain? Yeah, the storm drain. Yanked it ever closer. Never gonna speeding up. Rage of storm. We got more words. All right, what we got here? And what do you think of that sentence? I don't like it. I love how King tied the Dark Tower, the CK. Well, everything is actually connected. He's gone on about that. The small boat bobbed, listed, and righted itself, struggling against the rage of the storm. All right. Okay. Let's get into it. All right. Rain flicked hard at Yarnsey's eyes, stinging his young face. Rain flicked hard. Is it George or Georgie? Oh no, Pennywise calls it George. Stinging his young face. No matter how far he leaned his head forward, his arms stayed stretched out, trying to snatch up his boat. His little legs unable to keep up with the paper ship. I liked Bobbed and Rage of the Storm. Thank you. I appreciate it. Struggling against the rage of the storm. All right. Okay. Boop. We can get rid of that. Okay, Georgie running down the street. We got that. Okay. Snatched up his vessel. See, I want to use vessel, right? Oh, thank you. But the problem is, I'm trying to write it from Georgie's perspective. So, like, would he know it as a vessel? I don't know. Snatch up. His arms stayed stretched, trying to snatch up his vessel. I mean, word wise, it would look prettier, his vessel. But, like, uh, we don't know what it is yet. You know, so like if we say boat, then we could connect it to paper ship, right? And ship is supposed to be a bigger vehicle, right? Like, so a boat and a ship aren't necessarily the same thing, but he's calling it a boat, but he also calls it a paper ship, and it's sort of like, well, it's not a toy. It's a newspaper folded up into a boat, isn't it? Wasn't it a newspaper folded up into a boat? Yeah, made the boat beside. Yeah, see, a sheet of newspaper floating down. Yeah, it's a newspaper boat. See, newspaper boat. In fact, I should put that in there. I should put that in. Newspaper boat. We'll just call it newspaper. Here, we'll do boat here, and we'll do vessel here. All right, vessel. Does that work? There we go. All right. You could drive me nuts with this. His toy. Oh my God! Check your privilege, Mister. Had posh toys. Some had newspaper boats. No, I'm saying Georgie has the newspaper boat. A butt rude for 6-year-olds to getting involved. Plus, look at the I don't like. I like when it looks. See when the letters are like that. This is actually driving me nuts. That's why when I'm writing, I also try to like write to make everything because my OCD takes over. So I'm like, you know, like how do we make it look like this? Like I want it to look like that, right? Rain flicked hard. Georgie's eyes doesn't make sense. So you know, I gotta be like at Georgie's eyes, right? And then I'm like, ugh. So I could do it at his eyes, right? And then we're starting to get the stinging Georgie. Young face, but then the spacing. Jeez. Don't you want it? Don't you want it, Georgie? All right. Anyway, if I worry about that stuff, we're not focused on writing. We're just focused on. All right. The small boat Bob listed and righted itself again, struggling against the rage of the storm. Each step drew George closer to the intersection of Witcham and Jackson. All right. Get rid of this now. All right. Slap. Oop. Is increasing speed. His. What do we call it? Oh yeah. It's red. His socks. All right, I might have to work that up, but we'll get there. We'll get there. You're a thwap. You got to thwap. You got to thwap with me. Don't you want? Watch out for that thwap. It's like Mike Tyson talking. You know, you just got to work with your 1-2 punches. And once he makes that left and swings up, you really got him in a nice thwap, you know? Once he's in that twat, you could just, hook him. Now, if I ever see Mike Tyson and he watches this, not that he reads, but he's going to punch me in the face. That's all I'm saying. You are perfectly mimicking my writing process. It is. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I normally, and we have evidence of this, I normally do not worry so deeply on the words and the sentences I'm writing. Yes, boy, I'm trying to drink water because the soda wasn't helping me breathe because it's sugar. Let's see, a constant. Trying to think of protecting the socks, boots. What was it? I think they said the tarot. I forget what time period it was, what the day and month was. What helps things to float? I'll take what what helps things to float. Buoyancy, design. Doesn't say what season is. All right, whatever. All right, and the cold. All right. Fall season. Bounced from his yellow slicker. Okay. Boop. All right, now we're dressing him up. That's good. Okay, let's see what we got so far, and then maybe we'll stop here. All right, rain flick it hard. Ooh, that looks a little pretty. At Georgie's eyes. Top hat. What kind of hat is that? It's a what is the rain hat called? Is it? Oh, just missing his yellow. I think, yeah. Stinging. Stinging his young face. All right, there we go. There we go. I think that. All right, I think that works a little bit. Water, Thomas. Wait, what did it say? I read water. Oh, water. Oh, water. Well, it's water because I was drinking water. And then that's funny. Cause we've been at the. Nah, it's all right. It's all right. I can't help but feel we're not helping. No, you're helping. I mean, the whole point of this is for us to have fun and interact, and me to show you something, and maybe, possibly teach you something or something. But yes, Florence is such a nuisance. No. We are the naughty kids at the back of the class. See, yeah, we got boom. I don't mind a rowdy class. It makes it fun, Makes it fun. I'll just give you more homework. That's all. All right. No matter how far he leaned his head forward, he stayed. His arms. He stayed his arms stretched out. I like the way he stayed his arms stretched, trying to snatch up his vessel. There we go. Now that might look nice. See, there we go. Now that looks pretty. All right. Woohoo! His little legs scrambling to keep up with the newspaper bar. Okay, now I'm in editing mode. I'm not going through. I'm cleaning things up. I'm adding a little flavor. Okay, all right. But sir, I'm the professor, young lady, and the grades are going to be what they are. There's nothing I could do to help this. But if you could close my office door, maybe we could talk about it. I'm home. See, what's that? Home? What is that? Home? Am I reading that wrong? Are you saying you're homeless? If you're homeless, man, come hang out with us. I will say you're the one teacher. I don't mind getting homework assignments from. Well, I have plenty of homework assignments. Or homeless. Oh, homeless. It wasn't your dyslexia, Thomas. Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I was like, is that a new word? Is that a Scottish word or an English word that I'm just not aware of? What's going on? All right, so there we go. Rain flickered at Georgie's eyes, just missing his yellow. I guess that's sou'wester. Sou'wester, right? Let me just make sure I got that right.
Sou'wester.
Yeah, sou'wester. Sou'wester. All right. It's a sou'wester. All right. Stinging his young face. No matter how far he leaned his head forward, he stayed his arms stretched out, trying to snatch up his vessel. Little legs. Those little legs. He's scrambling to keep up with the newspaper. Scrambling to keep up. All right, the small boat bobbed, listed, and righted itself again, struggling against the rage of the storm. Each step drew George closer to the intersection. Now, by the way, this is creating tension because he's heading towards the intersection. And, we're doing something. I would totally do whatever homework Thomas said. Listen, I am happy to give homework because I'm a tough grader. I like doing what I got to do to help students. All right, a pattering thwap. I don't know why, but I kind of like that. A patter, like a pitter patter. Patter. Am I spelling that right? A pattering. Yeah, make a repeated light tapping sound. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's. I like it. The pattering thwap of rain and road splashed beneath his red galoshes. Actually, it should be galosh boots. Oh, wait, I think it's galosh boots, right? Is it galosh? I think I spelled that right. Yeah, it's galosh boots. Actually, you know what? We could get away with that. Yeah, look how pretty that looks. I misheard that. I like pattering. Right? It's a cute. It fits a 6-year-old. You know what I'm saying? He's pattering, and then thwap. He's like, oh, a thwap. And road splashed beneath his red galoshes, and the cold of Derry's fall season bounced from his yellow slicker. I think that's pretty tight. I like that. Please read through this whole thing once done. Oh, I will. welly boots. Oh, that's what you guys call them over there? Welly boots? The welly boots. All right, let's see. The boat and water. Okay. Okay. Dark afternoon. Dull sight, guided on by traffic. No, wait. The traffic lights are there. Okay, dark afternoon. Oh, it is a fall. I was right. Oh no, I said spring. No, I said fall, right? Oh, yeah, the fall. I knew it was the fall. I was looking for it before. I couldn't find it. What do we got? a a spattering of pattering is thwappering. I just for the record, excellent sentence. A spattering of pattering is thwappering. First of all, I love that. Welly bobs when I were a nipper. A nipper. Oh, ankle is it nipper because like you're a little you nip at the ankles like you're a kid like you're is that why where the term nipper comes? Welly bobs. Welly. By the way, that's a great. Why doesn't the states have really cute names like that? We just call them freaking wet boots or water boots. I want welly bobs. Anyway. Why did I do that? You're probably asking. Oh, ankle biters. Yeah, they're ankle sporge. The reason I did move this is because I'm trying to create logical narrative movement, and my brain is seeing that we're let's have him running, right? We're seeing him running, and then we're gonna zoom in a little bit more on his face. We're gonna cut to his face, right? And no matter, and then we describe the boat, and then the boat, and then the intersection, and then I could bring up the traffic jam up ahead and the traffic lights. Kitty Wink, Kitty Winkle. All right, look, I'm gonna look for the record. I feel like you're going to teach me words that actually are bad words. You know, like when people are like, "Can you teach me Italian?" I'm like, "Yeah, succhile molto grande Italian bias, por favore," or like, you know, bafangule, you know, something like that, or you know, a mingia head, and they'd be like, "What does that all mean?" It means, "Oh, you're really beautiful, and I'd like to take you out on a date." Uh, all right, so here we go. Here we go. All right. By the way, just for the record, were, you know, because it's over there, were is like something that they tell you not to really use nowadays. Like, don't use was, don't use were, you know, like you should just sort of like you not use those words. But it's interesting to see it used even here, like Slicker was, Yellow Slicker was Georgie DeBar, right? Um, you know what? I could actually put his name in there. Yeah. All right. Thomas, what did I say? I didn't say anything. Huh. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. I've just ate. You should have mentioned something earlier. Out is a give birth. Sprung one out. Sprung one out. All right. Okay. Traffic lights like lit. I think it's lit. Traffic lights lit the dark afternoon ahead. Son of a bitch! All right. What would you do? I'm trying to think of the name for something, but I don't know. But I've been told you never slowed down, you never growed. Ooh. Yeah. Signal. Flash. Oh, flashing. Flashing. Over the traffic jam. Okay. By the way, just real quick. See, I wrote this like sort of note for myself. I was like, but like, all I did was I gave it to this, and I added a little bit to this, and then the storm rage. So in each passage or movement, I allowed the water to be sort of like a part of it. The boat is constantly a part of it, and then the running. I gave the running some movement as well, including the just ignoring the just missing the edge of his yellow. Actually, we could just do that. Yeah, that looks pretty. All right, rain flicked at his eyes. Missing there. That was prettier too. Missing his. Does this make it better? That's better. All right. But so this note, even though it was just a quick note, this is like how I, like you've seen me on Sundays, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. When I'm doing this, like as a zero draft or even just an outline, describe the running, boat, and water. It doesn't mean that I'm going to spend one passage just describing the running or the boat or the water. It means that I need that to be a focus within the scene itself. So when I'm writing the scene as is, you can see that it's kind of in there, build on the rain I've been building, and then I just got the traffic lights. The only thing I didn't get was 1957. Let's see if we can do that. A small boat. Traffic lights. Dark after. There we go. All right. Traffic lights lit is dark. Afternoon. Street. Afternoon. Ahead of him. Traffic lights. I don't like it. All right, traffic lights lit. The yellow signal flashing over. Traffic jam. Horns blared. And dimmed and dulled. His excitement. Anyway. Okay. Let's do a quick. What? Flap is a word. All right. Each step drew him closer, and then blared. Thanks. Blared. Blared. I spelt that wrong then. I spelt blared wrong. Blared out. Blared. Blared out. Blared out. Oh, stupid me. All right. Okay. Fixed it. What do we got? Did I miss something? Oh, such a sad scene. Every time I seen it, I kept hoping he'd tell off the clown. Yeah, the clown gets him. I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Well, I am Pennywise, and your name? Well, I'm Georgie. Well, now we're not strangers. Dark Fall. Oh, Dark Fall. Dark Fall 57 afternoon. Well, we already got fall up here, but I do like traffic lights lit the street. Does that feel right? I'm trying to look for rhythm too. Traffic lights lit the dark 57 afternoon. I think it's smoother though, but the lights lit the dark. I think I have to sort of streets on this. But see, like 1957 afternoon. I kind of like your. I like this. I like your idea. Traffic lights lit. Traffic lights. You know what? In the dark. In the dark. By the way, I'm about this. I do this all the time when I'm. Let's bring it back to what it was, right? Okay, and then what I do is I look at it next to each other, and then that's sort of how like I edit, like just so I have the original. But all right, dark traffic lights flashed. Okay, yellow traffic lights flashed. Dark afternoon. I don't like that. Traffic lights flashed in the dark afternoon. All right, and then it's the yellow. Staining cars trapped in traffic in a traffic jam. All right, traffic lights flashed. Staining. The car's trapped in the air. Okay. Horns blared out. Traffic lights flashed in the dark. 1957. 57. Yellow staining. Horns blared out. Dimmed, and dulled. Horns blared out. Okay. All right. What's up, everyone? That was a good suggestion there, M. Boop. All right. Traffic lights flashed in the dark afternoon of 57. It's yellow staining the cars trapped in a traffic jam. Horns blared out. Screaming and yelling. Filled the streets. Filled the town. Alright. It dimmed and dulled, and his excitement as we could do this, George, closed in on the paper. Alright, I think I'm done for now. Alright. Let's do a quick spell check. Oh, excellent. Alright, so here he goes. I have taken this long-winded exposition dump, which I don't think is bad. It's just I personally like more movement, okay? And by the way, I probably would have gotten to if I kept going, I would have gotten to the um, the sewer with the clown. Which, by the way, if we look at this, this was this was 343 words, and then I did all these different movements in 149 words. Okay, and then I probably maybe a passage, one or two more passages of prose. I probably would have gotten to the clown. Maybe not the fun part of the clown dialogue, but I would have gotten to the clown. So I kind of you love Georgie, really. I can tell. You know, it's that I want him to be having fun, because we're gonna kill him, and but I also want him to feel like he's in the scene and that he's doing something. I just feel, and by the way, I mean, omniscient is supposed to feel distant and almost disconnected, and this version, the Stephen King version, for me and my author voice feels too distant. That I'm not really concerned about the boy, even, and I right now all I'm doing is learning stuff. I know that there is a terror, but I don't know what it is, which is fine. You shouldn't know exactly what it is. You're vague but informative. But it's like the terror, which would not end for another 28 years. All right, well, are we in the terror? Okay, maybe we are. Let's see what the terror is. And he's like, the boat, bobbed, listed, righted itself again, dive. And I'm still like, all right, well, where's the terror? And then we're getting a history lesson, a geography lesson. All right, I get it. Okay. But like the traffic jam doesn't do anything for tension. I tried to give it some tension and purpose in the narrative. And then I tried connecting it to Georgie. Georgie could hear it in the distance, but, he's not focused on it. All right? So it's a way of saying he's not focused on the danger, which, he's about to approach the danger with the thing, And then, I don't know. What's this say? If I kept going equals if you lot stopped messing about in class forever, the diplomat, Thomas. Oh, yeah, I'm a diplomat. No, I try to do this for an hour, but yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I always want him to manage to live show. Listen, the thing is, I love you guys all too much that I don't want to hinder your amusement and fun. But also, as an aside, if you didn't know, it's really important that if you can, please buy Carla's son's book if you haven't already. It's very important. All right. That's it. Okay, where are we? Let's do it. I'm going to read it now. Here it goes. A pattering thwap of rain and roads splashed beneath his red goloshes, and the cold of Derry's fall season bounced from Georgie Dembraw's yellow slicker. Rain flicked at his eyes, missing the edge of his yellow sou'wester. He ignored the sting against his young face. No matter how far he leaned his head forward, he stayed his arms stretched out, trying to snatch up his vessel. Those little legs of his scrambling to keep up with his newspaper boat. The small boat bobbed, listed, and righted itself again, struggling against the rage of the storm. Each step drew him closer toward the intersection of Wickham and Jackson. Traffic lights flashed in the dark afternoon of 57, its yellow staining the cars trapped in a traffic jam. Horns blared out, screaming and yelling filled the town. It dimmed and dulled in its excitement as George closed in on the boat. The paper boat. All right, so... I've bought the series. What series? Oh, you bought Carol's Son series. Yeah. Yes, please buy Thomas's stuff. If you don't know, then you don't know. But if you do know, Ro is my wingman. For everyone for Christmas. I bought everybody in the family a book for Christmas. All right, so just real quick, the way I did this also is we start with Georgie running, and then the logical narrative movement of this long opening sentence jumps to, see how I wrote yellow slicker, right? So the logical narrative movement is I'm going to describe how that is influenced by the rain itself. So the rain flickered at his eyes, missing the edge of his yellow sou'wester, which is a part of his uniform. He ignored. So now we move on to him and his physical experience. So he ignored the sting against his young face, and now we have his internal intentions. No matter how far he leaned his head forward, he stayed his arms stretched out, trying to snatch up his vessel. Those little legs of his scrambling to keep up with his paper boat. So now my next passage, the logical narrative movement to keep the flow or fast read, which is, by the way, is different than pace. If anyone watches this channel or it's your first time, pace is the speed at which information is presented to the reader. A fast or slow read. A slow read is dictated by jargon or confusion or lack of clarity, whereas a fast read, logical narrative movement, connects beats to one another. A movement can be a plot beat. For example, this would be a plot beat or a prose because it is setting up a specific thing, and then we lean into that. But a sentence can also be a plot beat. And if you take logical narrative movement, I mentioned the yellow sou'wester, which is the hat, and the rain is missing it. So now I move on logically to how that is affecting him, so cause and effect. And then since he is ignoring the sting, why is he ignoring it? Well, because no matter how far he leaned his head forward to basically block the sting, he stayed his arms stretched out trying to do what? Get his vessel. But what's keeping him? Well, those little legs. So I tried to do that. But the newspaper boat, then what's the first thing I do? Now I have the camera on the boat, and I'm framing the boat and what it is doing, but I am also still keeping Georgie connected to it. So each step drew him closer toward the intersection. So now we're adding a new element, right, that we could play on. Okay? And that's what I do here, but then I bring it back to Georgie so that the next passage can now logically move into Georgie, just missing the boat as it goes into the sewer, and then we get the clown. So that is my author's voice working out the movement of Georgie being introduced. What is he doing? The environment. That's another thing. I think I just did. Well, I don't think I know. I just recorded a video the other day that'll be out in 2026 because, you know, I do all my videos in advance. And I talk about how setting shouldn't be just something that's there. It should be influencing the narrative. Otherwise, what's the point? Because ultimately, if you could put characters like in a diner and they have their scene, but then you change the diner to, say, a ship, or you change it to, like, the desert, and that scene can take place still, and it just works without any interruption, then maybe the setting itself is not necessarily doing anything. So how do I write a scene? This is what we should be asking ourselves as writers, you know. How do I write a scene within a setting that allows it to be influenced to it? So right off the bat, I already have the road and rain, so atmosphere, the physical setting, and he is interacting with it. The pattering thwap of rain and road splash beneath his road. So I connected him to that instantly, right? And then we have stretch. Then here we get back to the storm. So he's struggling against the storm, right? The boat is struggling against the storm. Then I introduce the streets, which is important. Why? Because, well, it's the intersection. And then I let the intersection in the distance kind of slip in or seep into the emotional truth or experience of the characters. Because remember, plot is what needs to happen no matter what. Story is how the plot unfolds through the emotional experiences and choices of the characters. So there you go. That's what we did today. Worked out well in the end. It did, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. And the video on how Steven does an outline. Oh, you know, you mentioned that. I do have that video in the queue, my friend. Trust me, I got it all out there. But to be fair, you know how I have this book that I'm working on, the 27 plot point outline, which is all about how to outline using the 27 plot point outline. But it also is about narrative structure and a whole bunch of other stuff. So even if you're not an outliner, it does go deep into narrative structure and purpose. But my thesis in that book, the opening, my introduction, does suggest that they're plotting and outlining, outlining and pantsing are basically the same thing. It's all discovery. So even Stephen King has a small idea. The moment he thinks, I want to put it in a room, he's outlining, even though he's not out, you know. So the degree at which we do something doesn't necessarily take away the discovery. Because even when you're outlining, you're discovering where something is going, as Roe would definitely be able to agree to. But with that said, if you don't know, I have a book out. MakeARightLeftHere.com. Check it out on the website, MakeARightLeftHere.com. Do you have what it takes to make a right left here? But more importantly, Breaking Down Success is a book on how to be successful in the entertainment industry. That includes being a novelist or author, but as well as an actor, comedian, you name it. This is the first book of 5. All 5 books are written, but they are being formatted, and I'm going to slowly release them. But there you go. That book is available. If you didn't know, I also have Death of a King available. This is my epic fantasy novel. You could go to MakeARightLeftHere.com, and you can find the Patreon link. The Scribe tier will allow you to read that book, but you'll also be able to see how I developed the book, my inner thoughts on it, and I show you different drafts. It's a lot of fun. Understood. Written by more or less not great Carlos. That's right. Not great. not. Oh, that's funny. More or less not Carolyn. That's funny. Very helpful. I hope so. I hope the it's something to think about too, because a lot of people get a little nervous when you hear the word outline and you're like, I want to discover it, but it's like, well, we discover in stages. All right, so let's get to it. All right. What ruins a strong voice faster? So the question, the poll today is, what ruins a strong voice faster? It's assuming that you have your voice figured out, your strong author voice. And we have a couple things here. We have 12 votes today. Ooh, that's exciting. More importantly, we have over editing, which is ultimately just kind of basically erasing your voice by simplifying it or dulling it down. We have copying trends, which is ultimately just writing like other people. Playing it safe, not taking chances on your author voice, not experimenting, not going above and beyond, just sticking to the quote-unquote rules. And then, of course, fear of critique, which is a true thing that does restrict strong voice being destroyed, because you write to appease others and not necessarily to find what it is you want to talk about. And I figured since we have 12 votes, that means we got everyone voted in. We have 8% for over editing. We have 42% for copying trends. And then we have 25% for both playing it safe and fear of critique. Boom, copying trends. I agree with that. I think that is the killer of a strong voice, is when you compare yourself to other writers to see if what you're doing is working, when in reality, the way to figure out if your author voice is working is simply ask readers. Get beta readers, get alpha readers, including your fan base. If you're getting great reviews, etc., it's telling you that your author voice is working, because it's not about does it work like Stephen King or Joe Abercrombie or other fantastic authors out there. The point is, does it work for you? Is what you're trying to say working? And the only way you'll decipher that is if you get people to read your book, and not only can they foresee or discern what it is you're writing, but the feedback is very closely related to what it is your intentions were. And that's a really great way to tell if your voice is strong still and working. But if you're like, hey, Brandon Sanderson writes like this, or George R.R. Martin writes like that, you're not going to really have a voice. You're going to be basically copying. But playing it safe, I agree that these other choices are impactful, but copying trends will definitely destroy your voice quicker than anything. What do we got here? I chose copying trends. Yeah, for sure. Copying trends is definitely something that can destroy your voice. I like to be more or less great. MUR, more or less great. Critique was my second choice. Yeah, critique is a scary thing, just from my own experience, being somebody who handed work to people when I was younger. Like, I was afraid they were going to say it was crap. And in reality, I should have been hoping they said it was crap, if that makes sense. Because when I was starting out, I thought I was great, because I was young and dumb. But you need people to be like, this isn't working, because then you can make the adjustments. You can start learning how to fix it, right? And it teaches you that rewriting, great writing is rewriting. It teaches you that just because somebody doesn't understand or like something doesn't mean you're a bad writer. It means you have to do the work. And if you don't do the work, you can't improve the writing. Your first draft is not your last draft. And if you think it is, you need work. That's my thoughts on that. More or less great. Playing it safe. I'd have been shit in the trenches. Yeah, right? Because if you play it safe, let's be honest. Are you really saying anything when it comes to writing? Because you should be trying to mess with things. Something I talk about in the 27 plot point outline book is I talk about breaking things. Like you set everything up in your first act, and in act 2, you should be trying to break it. You should be saying, all right, I told you this, I showed you this, we explored that, so now I'm going to break it. I'm going to split it up, I'm going to twist it, I'm going to twirl it, I'm going to try to play around what I established. And I think that comes down to your author voice too, is when you're writing, even if your zero draft is coming out as it is and you're just getting the idea out, when you go back, say to yourself, how deep can I go with this when it comes to immersion? Should I let it fly by with faster pace? Should I slow it down? Right? Is it okay to describe the way tea tastes to somebody if it works narrative, if it works for their character? That's a risk when you slow down the pace. And I know we talked about pace a couple weeks ago. That was a concern. If I slow down the pace, will I lose the engagement of readers? But to find a part of your voice, you have to risk getting there. And part of that is slowing it down and going, what? I want to see how deep I can get into the emotional truth of this character. Because honestly, things happening is not interesting. Things happening is what loses engagement if it's just one thing after the other. But it's how your characters are moving through those things happening. It's their emotional experiences and choices that creates the engagement. So I'm not saying you should go deep into everything they're doing, but even with this example right here, the way I wrote this, and again, I'm not saying I'm a great writer and like my way is the highway. I'm just saying that what I tried to do is go as deep into Georgie as I could without slowing down the narrative. Not that I couldn't go deeper and got his thoughts, but what is the narrative movement of this piece? He's actively trying to get a boat, so he wouldn't be thinking deeper thoughts, right? So you have to allow the POV to also influence when and where you go deep, etc., etc. But I still kept it connected to him through sensory. I kept it through him, through his desires, like his wants, no matter how far he leaned, stayed stretching, right? So, I'm trying to read fast. But that's the point. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're writing, sometimes it's okay to go deeper into the emotional truth, but at the end of the day, you're not going to know what works and doesn't work for you if you don't go slow, if you don't create a slower pace, if you don't create a faster pace, if you don't try a certain kind of immersion, if you don't try thought, right? Like, and honestly, and this is something I tell my clients when I work with them, is if you're only practicing when you're writing, meaning you only practice when you write a book, you're not really honing. You're not practicing to hone. Like when I played guitar, I didn't learn songs to get better at strumming. I learned strumming to be better at songs, right? So I would isolate. I would practice strumming. I would practice scales. But if I was practicing when I was writing or working on a song, I wasn't honing a skill. And it's the same thing with writing. If you're trying to get better at immersion, or you're trying to create your voice, or you're trying to talk about specific things, really what you should be working on is isolated practice. Say, oh, I'm gonna work on immersion with this, or I'm gonna work on that. In fact, thanks to Ro, I was able to come up with a nice sort of like exercise you could do, and that's actually available in the folder, the Right Mindset folder. It's all free. You don't have to sign up for anything. It's in the description of the video, and it's also going to be in the comments. It's always in the comments. And basically, what it does is it's under the folder writing exercises, and it basically gives you a whole bunch of things of how to practice sensories and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. You should be practicing even when you're not writing. Develop. Oh, sorry. Develop the character, build the world, progress the plot. Yes, I mean, ultimately, when you're writing, you should be, how do I develop these characters? How do I build on the world? And how do I progress the plot? Excellent. Excellent summary of what's important. You got me to memorize that from all you. Oh, yeah. That's right. It's the three most important things to any narrative. Without those things, it doesn't matter what the atmosphere is. Without character, it was a dark and stormy night doesn't really hit. Without plot, nothing is happening. And without the world, it doesn't feel lived in. And that's the thing. World building is not necessarily there to be like, hey, this is interesting. The war of 1907 affected this tavern. It's actually, how does the world's truth or the world building feel lived in, so it's more or less great. It creates this environment where you're not learning about the world because it's being expositioned to you, but you're learning about the world building through behavior and characters and interaction and plot and all these other things. So it's I'm glad it stuck with you, Ro. I will be needing the Thomas bird on my shoulder when I'm editing. Listen, Flowers, you know I'm always around for you. So if you need anything, I'm here for you. All right. Other than that, does anyone have any? Where's the thing? Oh, does anyone have any questions that you want me to answer that have to do with your whatchamacallits, your books? Do you have any questions about what I did today? You have questions about author voice? You let me know. I like to try to give everybody a little bit of time and answer those questions. Well, we're waiting for that. Let's just keep it real. Please subscribe. If you haven't done so already and you've been watching for quite some time, subscribe and hit that bell icon, because that would definitely be very helpful. S.B. Hendricks, is there an official application to be a member of the Merry Nutters? Yes, there is. There is. There are the Merry Nutter merchandise on makearightlefthear.com. But all you got to do is just enjoy, subscribe, hang out with us on Sundays, Saturdays and Sundays, and I assure you, you're a part of the Nutters. We embrace, we elevate, and we support one another. And it's just not about me educating. It's everyone else. And, if you haven't been here before, SB, you'll know that we're always like, what are you working on next? Tell me about your book, Flowers. Tell me about what you're going on, Ro. Tell me about... It's all about love and support here. So, as far as I'm concerned, you entered. As long as you keep showing up, you're a nutter. I should finish the last chapter tomorrow. Still prologue, epilogue to do, though. Hey, get that last chapter done, and then you can play with your prologue and epilogue. They're not going anywhere. They're waiting for you. What if he just keeps going, caw, caw? That's funny. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day, my oh my, what a wonderful day. I think that would be pizza, Ro. That is correct. I would go, pizza. Oh, Mr. Bluebeard on my shoulder. Mr. Bluebeard. That's funny. I've been watching for a while, and I have learned so much from you and your crew. Thank you guys so much. I will be seeing you tomorrow as well. Oh, SB, thank you so much. I really appreciate it that you've been supporting us and watching, and that you're getting something out of it. That's the part that matters to me, is that you're getting something out of it. And, if I could keep doing this, I'm going to keep doing it, and I hope it's helping you on your writer's journey. Wow. Really, thank you for taking the time to write that. I appreciate that. Awesome progress, Flowers. Congrats. Yeah, let's get a round of applause for Flowers. She's on her final chapter. Everybody. Woo! Woo! All right, that's what I'm talking about. I like these sound effects. I'm going to be honest. Can't go wrong with sound effects. All right, what else? I guess it's about that time. Let me do the run through. If anyone doesn't know, If anyone doesn't know, you can find my book on makearightleftheere.com. It all begins with one step, one choice. I really appreciate it. I am continuing to fly through this book, 27 plot point outline. I am on I'm on the end of chapter 11. As far as the second draft goes, I am on the second draft. If you didn't know, if you want to read this book, this epic fantasy novel, it is currently available on my Patreon, which is, you can find it through makearightleftheere.com. This is not just the book, though. The tier allows you to learn, so it's the teaching tier. It shows you how I wrote the short form, the extended, the zero draft, the first draft, and the third draft of each chapter. There are some of the posts have exercises in them. Other posters are just helping you with how to approach your chapters in a certain way based on whatever it is that I'm talking about. For that, I had a lot of fun with that. Woohoo! Flowers, right? It's a fabulous flowers, 'cause she's kicking butt. But other than that, I think that's everything. Right? I like this little set. I'm glad I did this, because I don't like being covered up. When I'm like this, you can't see me. I like you seeing my funny faces, and my beard, right? Who doesn't? Right? Everybody loves the beard. Right? What's the boo? What's with the boo? Okay. I have no idea how you manage to do everything you do, Bellezza. I think, this might be a little vulnerable. But please, Afghani, ask your question. This might be a little vulnerable, but the reason I am so aggressively proactive in what I do is, and I've talked about this before, but I had the cancer, and I was very close to the death, and I survived it. They took some insides from me, but I lived, and in 2016 that changed the way I sort of just was like, I have this stuff that I'm passionate about. I have the need and will to want to help people. And if I can inspire, as I say, I aspire to inspire. If I can inspire one person to do something that they're passionate about, whether it is writing a book, whether it is starting a business, whether it is going in and being an actor, a comedian, whatever the case is, it drove me to say, you know what, I would rather leave this world having relayed that kind of passion and purpose to others. What is the saying? Become the change you want to see in the world. So that's why I'm a little aggressive with a lot of stuff I do as far as being proactive. And then obviously, when I say goodbye to my father, there was a lot going on with that, and what we had as a final conversation. So that fuels me too. And even though I deal with what I deal with the lungs, it's like I could either sit around and just go and fail and just say goodbye, or I could just keep going, enjoying life as best I can, and hopefully that inspires other people. So that's really why I do what I do. But I could use a break. The little book to the side is cool, right? Like, it's a nice little thing. The cover up is nice, a nice break, to be honest. Yeah, I know it is difficult to look at this, and that's why I'm trying to get the beard as thick as possible, so you don't have to deal with it. What we got here? I've been thinking of starting to do live stream for NaNoWriMo, and I'm just wondering what the first streams are like, and what are you supposed to do when you probably have 0 viewers and stuff? That's a really great question. Afghani, I want to answer that in the fullest form, but could you answer this question? Just so I can, because I have 2 answers depending on what you say. The platform you're going to do live streams on, is it going to be YouTube, where your live streams will stay after you do it, or are you going to do a live stream and delete it? Like I think King and Twitch, I think they delete after a while. Let me know the answer to that, and I could give you an answer for either one that you give me. But I do have an answer for that. Give me some of what you're taking, Thomas. It's called laughter. Laughter is the cure. I'm just trying to freaking enjoy life as much as I can. The Crimson King was hunting for you. The Crimson King found me. I'm wheezing. All right. Oh, thank you so much, SB. Thank you. Also, I love your last name. It's water now, not Chepsy. I am drinking a lot of the water. I am drinking. I am. I was petrified when I did my first live stream. It gets easier. I'm sure we'd all be there if we can. 100%. 100%. We support the supporters, right? Terrifying. Live streams or dealing with the other stuff? Both, I agree, is terrifying. You're not failing by continuing to live. That is true. That's true. That's why I'm saying I could have just been like, forget it. I'll just sit here and just let my body go. But I was like, no, I want to do what I can. I want to be around people. I get that, T, after recent events. I know you understand, my friend. I know you understand. Much love to you, and I hope you're doing what you can through this. And I'm here if you need me. I'm an email away. You know that. YouTube, but I may delete it out of shame. All right, let me answer your question. Hey, all, hey, Rain, what's up, man? Long time no see. And I mean that positive because I know you're working hard on what you're doing. All right, so let's go back. Afghani asks, I've been thinking of starting to do live stream for NaNoWriMo, and I'm just wondering what the first streams are like and what are you supposed to do when you probably have 0 viewers and stuff. Okay, so that's a really great question, especially for live streaming. The advice I would give you is the same advice I was given when I started doing radio way back 20 years ago when I was doing it, because my first question was like, how many people will be listening? And the producer at the time said, do the show as if no one's listening, but you're in front of Madison Square Garden. And what that means is just do what you do, talk about what you want to talk about, figure out what you're passionate about while you're doing the NaNoWriMo, while you're doing the live stream, and you're working on your writing. What is it you want to talk about is what connects to other people, right? So if they hear your truth, right, if you're being honest with them, which we should always try to be as honest as we possibly can, one person's going to come in, and then eventually 2, 3, 4. Look at this show. You've been here a long time, and I've been doing this for 40 weeks, and we're up to 10, and we started 1, maybe 2. Now, as far as 0 people show up, don't worry about that number. Just get on, talk about what you want to talk about, because you'll be learning who you are on camera. You'll be getting comfortable being on camera. You'll start finding your voice. And then by the time you start really discovering that, people will start supporting and coming in. And you'll already be where you need to be. You don't want to go live and then 3,000 people jump on and you're like, what do I do? So use that free time of 0 to, say, 5 viewers, where you feel like it's not a big team, to find your voice. That's my best advice to you. Do not worry about the 0 viewers. Worry about what it is you want to talk about and try to make the show as truthful to you as possible. What helped me was having friends there in the background helping and supporting. That's right, and by the way, I wouldn't recommend taking these people and tying them up with rope and then forcing them to watch your live in the living room. That would be uncomfortable and scary. Funny, funny, but yeah. No, you need a support group, And by the way, let us know when you're doing your live. We'll jump on, Just make a post on YouTube. You're friends with me on Facebook. So let me know. I'll make a post about it. I support the supporters. Hey, what's up? Reading, writing, and rain. I love how that works with your name. Reading, writing, and rain. Thanks. You're welcome, buddy. You're welcome. And by the way, if anyone doesn't know, Reading, Writing, and Rain has a great YouTube channel, talks about his actual writing journey and how he's developing and building a city world that is all new and fabulous. So if you're looking to understand world building and just watch the journey and support others, Rain is doing that currently as it is. And also, if you don't know, Emma is a editor. That's right, she does editing. But reach out to her, say hi, send her some love and hugs, and a couple paychecks. But no, Emma is great. Also, just to watch her channels, watching her journey. She just signed a deal. I'm so proud of her. She signed a huge book deal, and she's working on a series. I couldn't be happier for her. I love seeing my friends elevate and rise in their careers. Congratulations, Emma, for that. Flower's been killing it, kicking butt. As you see, she is flying through her book. Can't wait till that book is done so I can support and push that book on this channel. And more importantly, everybody here, love is love. Thanks, flowers. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, Thomas, thank you. I'm like, well, hey, anything I can do, my buddy, you know me. It's always love. It's always love. Who had the beard first? I don't know. I think I'm older than Rain. I'm much older than Rain, if that's who you're asking about. And plus, my logo, my original logo was my face from way back in the day. I had a funny logo. Do I have it available? I don't know. Let me see. Let's see. Thomas J. Bellezza. I was known for the beard. I was known for that. I was born with a beard. Let's be honest. I'm Sicilian, so when I was born, I was just like a ball of hair, and then like arms slowly grew out of the hair, and then like a face, and then I had to grow into who I am. It was very scary. But boop, that's my original logo from way back in the day. It's like 20 years old, this thing. It's just me with no eyes. All right. Okay, where are we? My son started a YouTube channel talking about dinosaurs, and he is as shy as shite when he was 12. He's 22 now. Wow, that's awesome. And still going strong. He is still shy, but online he don't care. You can do it, Afghani. Wow, that's really great. That's amazing motivation there. Thank you for that. Yeah, 10 years doing it, and that's the thing. Like, as long as if you're shy and you're who you are, do it. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are gonna connect to that truth, and really, you just gotta try and start. So we always gotta applaud the beards. We always gotta applaud the beards. I was recently told that it's time to trim it. It's getting a little thick, and I let's be honest. We'll see. We'll see what happens. My beard is relatively new, but it looks great. It's a little teal right now around it, but you just got to drink your vitamins and eat your water. All right. Just subbed. Woohoo! Yes. Thank you for doing that for Ryan, Emma. Thank you. Thank you. My grandson. Oh, yes. By the way, her grandson is so smart. You got to watch those videos. For an 11-year-old, and I say this very respectfully, for an 11-year-old, he's so smart. Like, just listening to him think, because like the way he talks, it's like you can hear him thinking through his words. And it's about the Metro, so that's really fun. My son has begun his crazy YouTube journey. He's a big ham. Well, at least he's not a turkey. But anyway, awesome, bro. What's his channel about? Look at all these. I feel bad. I don't have children. Am I doing something wrong? I think I messed up somewhere. Do I even have time for kids anymore? I'm 47. Could I even give birth? Listen, no. Thomas's beard is vintage. I mean, look at all this white. It has to be. I was looking at a picture from 2016, and like I was so brown. Like everything was so dark and brown. I was like, damn. I have to be more clear on my quick chats. I was applauding Emma and Flowers, and book deals, and everyone working so hard. Hey, let's bring it back. We'll bring it back. Let's go back. Woo! The applause to all the successes of everyone on the channel. Congrats. Thank you, SB, for the love to everyone. He's fab. Yeah, your nephew. What a grandson? No, what? Why is my brain the grandson? I keep forgetting. To me, you're very young, Flowers. So, the idea of grandchildren. I'm like, how is that possible? All right. He's an old soul. Does he smoke a pipe? That's all I want to know. Is he an old soul? He's a turkey, too. That's funny. Thank you, SB. Is that the Metro in Newcastle? Oh, that's a good question. Big Hearts in Love. Please tell me that is the name of your son's YouTube channel. Pork and Poultry. Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, yeah, the Metro in Newcastle. Is that the Metro in North Shields? I'm an old flower. Yeah, but you're a wonderful soul, so it doesn't matter, I look at me, and I think 47 is old, but I keep getting yelled at that it's not old, so I have to accept that. I'll tell him to name it that. It's just copy and paste, copy and paste. She's saying it was the other one, the Newcastle. Lol. All right, 2 hours. Wow. I honestly, this is how much I appreciate the love and support. Cause like I was feeling like all morning and all yesterday and the last couple of days, and I'm having a long day, but I made it. I thought I was gonna cut out early, but because I'm so excited, and I just love the energy. I'm still here, but it is getting close. It's 4:00, so I might have to go just to eat something. I need some energy. I sometimes do the yelling. Emma, you're the only one who yells at me for saying I'm old. Everyone else is like, of course you're old. You know why? Because my students and all the young people I mentor are very young. They're in their 20s, and they're like, yeah, you old as fuck. And then I give them all Fs. All of it. I think I got a bit of repetition strain type in there. That's funny. Cause we got you laughing. Important exercises. That's right. Laughing is good. But I heard myself wheeze, and I was like, oh, there, it's coming. AI songs and vids. Hey, that's something, right? I still think now his band should be called, what was it? Poultry? What is it? Pork and Poultry? That'd be a great band's name. I spent some time on that last month. On the Metro. Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else? Is that it? All right. I think I'm done about it. All right. Let's see. That's it. I think we got everything. Pork and Poultry. All right, everybody. Let's see. FYI, I am older than you. Ho! Yeah, but age is just a number. It really is, until the back hurts. I tell you, when I hit 30 something, and I was making noise when I stood up, or when I sat down, I was like, oh, maybe I'm getting old. But when I hit my 40s, I started making noises when I got up and down. So let's be honest. It really depends. Have a great evening, Thomas. You too, Ro. Oh, thank you, Emma. Don't know why that didn't send. Sheesh. It's the internet. It does what it does. But with that said, to everybody, much love. As always, I will see you tomorrow, Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be doing the Write With Me series, as always. So we are on episode 40. Wow, episode 40. Jesus. We've been writing this book. We are officially in the reread the chapters, the zero draft chapters, and taking notes. So we're on the next step. So that's been a wild ride. So I'm actually super happy that's going on. Before I go, let me read these last couple comments. He did ask him what he wanted for his birthday in September, and we all wanted him a tiny microphone so he could be a proper YouTuber. I love that. Supporting the dream, supporting the passion, elevating the young. Bless him, man. We will bless and celebrate. Have a good night, everybody. We've aged so much this year. We definitely, yeah. I used to have brown hair this morning. That's how far I've aged. Anyway, with that, I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. Thank you so much to everybody. I will see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see